By resisting the imposition of Afrikaans as a medium of instruction, the youth of 1976 took charge of their destiny. The youth of 2014 are facing a different kind of struggle, debilitating joblessness. They too must take charge or become a lost and wasted generation. This is CheckPoint, and I'm Nkepile Mabuse. There's absolutely no question that joblessness is one of South Africa's latest struggles. According to the World Economic Forum, we have the third highest youth unemployment rate in the world. On CheckPoint this week, we're in KwaZulu-Natal, the Western Cape and Gauteng to get a better understanding of what young people are going through. It's an almost daily trip for 24-year-old Mthobisi Gamete, the long walk to finding employment. He was introduced to computers in high school and saw technology as his way out of the slow rural existence in Ulundi, KwaZulu-Natal, into the big time in South Africa's economic hubs. But nearly 2 years after completing a diploma in software development at Mangosuthu University of Technology, his interaction with computers is still limited to sending CVs around the country looking for work. What is the biggest challenge?
Coming from this area where there is no way where you can go and volunteer to get the skills, for example, to polish my skills when it comes to mobile development.
Despite his lack of on-the-job training, Mthobisi's CV is pretty impressive. He received a one-year scholarship for achieving an aggregate of 75% during his first year. He was also made a tutorial assistant in his last. He's currently volunteering in the IT department of a local hospital and has also participated in a 4-week internship course with one of the country's leading media companies. But his CV, which he wrote himself, is riddled with spelling and grammatical errors, a potential barrier to securing an interview. Economist Lone Sharp at recruitment company AdCorp blames both universities and young people themselves for the current state of affairs.
There are certain things like business etiquette, how to speak to a colleague, how to write a letter or an email, how to present off a projector, how to communicate in general. These are incredibly valuable skills that are not taught in the tertiary education system.
Mthobisi is convinced that relocating would change his fortune.
I believe that maybe if I was in Cape Town, where in terms of the IT, the software development is very successful compared to this town, maybe something would have come up right now.
Forget about rural areas. There are no opportunities. Everybody is urbanizing. It's not only in the big cities, Johannesburg, Cape Town and Durban, but also in the minor cities.
Lone says young people should be looking for any job and not allow their qualifications to restrict them.
Young people need to be prepared to start at the bottom. And more of the new generation of people don't want to start at the bottom, even without degrees and diplomas. So you get a job where you can, but you make the most of that job.
Jobless young Africans who are into technology are increasingly identifying gaps and employing themselves. Africa is the world's fastest growing cell phone market, and mobile apps in places like Nigeria and Kenya are being designed by young people. Despite this, Mthobisi tells us mobile app design did not form a major part of his software development diploma.
The focus more was about the desktop development, the apps that run on a desktop, not on the mobile one.
As a student, take control of your education. Don't assume that what's happening at the university is in your best interest. What's happening at the university is in the university's best interest.
According to AdCorp, more than half of the near 500,000 jobs currently available in South Africa are in management.
How do you get into management? Because there's such a critical shortage of it. You start off in a small environment. It could be a coffee shop, a restaurant, it could be in an auto repair shop, and you build your way into a supervisory position.
When we return, we meet young people turning passion into purpose. Now we introduce you to young people who prefer being dream catchers to job hunters. Their passion has opened doors and has helped them achieve the unimaginable.
My name is Kiarabitu Mopelo. I'm from the East Rand in Vosloorus, and I am a vintage stylist and an image consultant. Basically, I'm also a student at the same time, full-time doing my postgrad in anthropology at the Wits University. And I run a business of my own, which involves the styling, obviously, and image consultations. I style vintage clothes that I source from town, Joburg, just sourcing different outfits that are strictly vintage. And I basically distribute these to different clients. So the business is called Snorpachana. It's Afrikaans slang meaning waistcoat. And you know, waistcoat is an item that you wear with a suit. Very elegant type of style, sophisticated, and so was the mentality, Sophia Town type of style. That's what I am into, and that's what I do for most of my clients. I style them with couture vintage pieces, 60s dresses, and those type of very quality clothing that's not very available these days. And basically the business started in 2012, where, you know, I had lots of people on campus that would come up to me and say, "You look so good," and all of that, because I'd wear my grandmother's clothes. People were very inspired by that, and they asked me where I get the clothes and stuff like that. So that's when I started realizing I could make a business out of it. You know, it was my passion. From growing up, my grandmother was a tailor in the village. Growing up as a little kid, the youngest, well, my aunts and my cousins went to school. I'd stay at home with my grandmother, play with my Barbie dolls, and take the little pieces of cloth that she'd throw away and make my dolls' clothes. First year, second year varsity, you know, I'm getting the hang of university, the hang of that kind of do-it-yourself environment. And at the time, I'm also raising my two daughters. One I had gotten in 2008 and the other in 2009. So then it was roughly around that time where I had to really do some deep introspection and reevaluate my self-perception. And that's what I had to do for myself. And I found that I became a transformational and transactional entrepreneur. Transformational in the sense that my experiences make me the kind of entrepreneur that I am. And transactional in that I do it from a perspective that I'm trying to influence your life in a way. Most of my clients would tell you that I always tell them that I don't sell clothes, I sell style. Because I think that everybody is internally an entrepreneur, internally. If you just learn to understand your experiences and take advantage of opportunities when they come, you know, even if it's a little thing, your passion will provide like the sustenance for it. It'll keep it going, because I never thought that the business was going to bloom. I knew I'd always said, oh, I'd like to design one day, open my own shop. But, you know, people always think that you have a strategy and a plan of going towards that. Like, you need to plan, you need capital. You know, if your passion makes you feel like you're a leader and you can do things on your own, then that's something you should really follow. So that's how you know you're an entrepreneur. Just find what you're passionate in, know who you are and what you want. Like, have a good self-perception so you can have the passion to have, like, self-actualization.
In the back rooms of this humble Gugulethu home, a dream that spans continents was born.
Kanya went to Birdswood Primary School in Otre, where they did dance as a form of physical training, where they were, it helped the young kids.
Long necks, shoulders down.
He was taught the different genres of dance, including ballet. So I think that's where the seed was planted of him liking ballet dance.
Today he spends 6 days a week on his toes, long hours that he says make him feel whole.
I like that it's a unique type of art and it's kind of out of my comfort zone.
Fifth, back you go as far as you can, rise up.
In our culture, they are very, boys, they either play rugby, soccer, but for him, because of his uniqueness, he likes to do things that normal people don't like to do. So it didn't surprise me. Here in our area, I felt that maybe he's gonna feel isolated, or because ballet dancers, there's a perception that it's for gay men. So I had, my reservations about it. But as a parent, you have to support your child to whatever venture that he is interested in. So I put my weight behind him all the way through.
They would call me ballet boy, they would call me lots of different names, but I've tried to not let it affect me, and obviously it does when I'm at the moment of time, but when I move away from that, then it doesn't really matter because I know why I'm doing it. I know why I love to dance. It has opened up a new world for me that I've never, ever thought about and never dreamt of before I danced.
Kanya's mother says ballet has protected him from danger.
This area was a gang battlefield, So with him away for quite some time, spending a lot of time at the dance school, it protected him from being engaged in any gang-related events.
Kanya is in matric this year and has been accepted at 2 prestigious dance institutions overseas, Ailey in the USA and Rombe in England, to study ballet full-time.
Financially, I just cannot take him to either of the schools. Especially, I went to the Arts and Culture, Department of Arts and Culture in the province and nationally, and then I was told that I applied very late after the closing date, and I was not aware of when the closing date was.
Kanya wants international recognition and to use his platform to inspire others who may feel hamstrung by their personal circumstances.
And after I've danced overseas, I want to come back and actually take kids like me that come from townships like Oguletu and train them and show them this new world that I've experienced. You learn so much about yourself. You learn that your mind is actually stronger than what you think it is.
The Cape Junior Ballet Company has organized various events to raise funds, including dance shows at the Mask Theatre in Cape Town later this month. But the concern is that this may not be enough.
Well, when I was in school, I was really not a whiz or academic child. So I think I saw an opportunity where I could rise, as in to do what I'm doing now, and I love it, and I'm so passionate about it, and it makes me so at peace. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything else I can do but just cook. And if I could cook though 24 hours, I could. I could really do it.
All right.
We're making the Rogan Josh lamb curry. So this is the riblets, the lamb riblets. And we've got the lamb shank and the lamb toli. My grandmother used to bake a lot. I started with baking. Every time I would cook something, I'd always be the best at it, try to make it very niche and proper, and I remember when I used to make breakfast for everybody, it always used to be tomatoes cut into flowers and scrambled eggs. I would cook it in muffin trays. I think I always had a gastronomic feel to me. This is the lamb curry sauce, the lamb rogan curry sauce that we cook down with onions, all the spices, with the meat offcuts, chicken stock. We cook it down, and then we blend it and we sip it. And that's the tomato puree that's going with the lamb rogan josh. And this is just all the pickles. Like it's a sun-dried tomato, it's dehydrated tomatoes, baby fennel, and charred onions, and pickled garlic. So, right. I started at Bronze under Ken Garvey, an amazing chef, and he really liked the whole drive that I had, and I was passionate, and then he said, I'll take you under my wing and train you up, and that's what he did. I was there for a year, and then after that I went back to school. I went to Capsicum Culinary Studio, did my professional chef diploma, and I did really well. A friend of mine back in college, his dad, he owned a restaurant called Auberge Michel Morand, the Michel Morand. He also took me under his wing. He's my mentor till today, an amazing guy. He trained me from wine, food, travel. I traveled a lot with him around France. We went to France, he showed me, we went to Lyon, we went to Montpellier, we went to a lot of places where he started and where he got his passion. Yeah, I worked for him for 5 years, and I came here.
So we're going to go this way?
For 3 years, his main task was peeling vegetables for his seniors, a job he continues to do for himself today. Born and raised in Mamelodi Township, east of Pretoria, he's now a senior chef de partie, or supervisor, at five-star establishment De La Graaf in Stellenbosch.
We put on all the
He's
pickles.
managed to rise up the ranks at some of the country's finest restaurants and continues to whet the palates of the rich, famous and powerful. He says the 16-hour days, patience and perseverance have paid off.
This is how we would serve it in the restaurant, lamb rogan josh.
I think he's a very hard-working, strong young chef, upcoming chef, very passionate, very focused, dedicated. I think he will have a bright future in the kitchen, being a chef, and even take it further than that.
It does help having a passion and doing what you love, and I think it's important for the youth out there to follow their passion for them to succeed.
After the break, we're in Beijing, where graduates are living in squalor as jobs there become scarce. China produces more than 7 million graduates every year, and like here, many of them flock to the cities in search of work. But that country's economy is slowing and their job market is shrinking, so more and more graduates are having to grab just about any opportunity available, including becoming street vendors, just to survive.
23-year-old Tang Wei graduated with a degree in electronics from China's northeast Shandong province.
我现在就想的是先把工作稳定下来，然后积累一些自己的经验，然后扩展自己的人脉。
Tang is among the estimated 3 million young Chinese professionals, according to researchers at Peking University, who are living in slum-like conditions, in cramped housing on the outskirts of big cities closer to work opportunities.
比如说工资的话，这份工作的话，应该在这个高档的写字楼里，然后自己的职务的话，应该怎么也得是主管或者总监级别的，就是大学毕业，然后工资的话
He says he's done about 30 interviews in his field of training and about 20 more in other sectors. He tells us he has been rejected either because of a lack of experience or a lack of appropriate training. By some accounts, the unemployment rate for Chinese college graduates aged 21 to 25 is 16%, nearly 4 times that of blue-collar workers. Vocational graduates stand a better chance of getting employment in China. According to the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, more than 95% find work almost immediately after graduation. Experts say they are trained in accordance with what employers need, and some of them enroll in school programs sponsored by commercial enterprises. The big concern, though, is that the Chinese economy is slowing down, and economists predict that some 2 million jobs could be lost. Many youngsters like Tang will end their job hunt back home in their villages, where they will try their hand at becoming entrepreneurs.
实际情况是贫富差距特别大，但是在我看来的话，就是起码这个社会给了这个所有的人一个平等的机会，就是无论是你是有钱的还是没钱的。
From the second largest economy in the world to one that barely exists, in Zimbabwe, creativity has become critical to survival. Running a spaza shop was never Tonderai Chinkweza's idea of a career, but a shrinking economy has forced companies in Zimbabwe to downsize or shut down, and a degree in economics was not enough to secure this 24-year-old a job. To avoid being among the more than 80% unemployed, he teamed up with his siblings and raised capital to start a business.
Everything was down, so with the coming of the US dollar, we decided to venture into a new business, and this is the way that they came to that it came to pass. Yeah, I sell groceries. In fact, this is just an extension of other 2 shops. This is the 3rd one, so this one is meant for groceries only, basic groceries, foodstuffs.
His qualifications have helped him expand fast and dream big.
I want to take this company to the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Yeah, I think in 5 years' time I will manage.
He says he has no regrets and is proud of being self-employed.
I don't regret, but sometimes I just have those imaginations working when just imagine if you worked in a bank or something like that. But that's more imagination, where you try to imagine yourself in a certain company. But it's not a regret, it's just an imagination. But I love what I'm doing. And I don't regret.
Millions of Zimbabweans are searching for a better life in the region and abroad. Tonderai is among those determined to make it at home.
The answer is simple. Whenever you got a bad situation, it's either you live or you survive. So I think I'm on the surviving part. Just go to your customers and reasonable prices. That's the spirit.
Survival and resilience, lessons that are bound to enrich the lives of future generations. That's all from us this week at the June 16 Memorial Acre here in Soweto. Please do give us your feedback. Our Twitter handle is checkpoint_ENCA. Thanks for watching. I'm Ngebile Mabuse.